Then the next part, as you already know, is about network building. So I would like for us all to brainstorm what is a network and who do you think should be included in your network. What is a network? Because if I'm not mistaken, there are at least two meanings for the word network. One is very IT related, some computer stuff, and the other is the network we would like to discuss here today. So what is a network and who do you think is good to include in your network? You're free to jump in.
The ability to find people that will be beneficial for both of you, like
yes, that's networking.
The exchange of information to develop something.
Yes, that is also included in networking part, but for this part I want you to think about what is a network. Network and networking, these are a bit different. What is network? The people probably around you. Any ideas?
People that you know, like your environment.
Is your neighbor?
For me, I think a network is like consists of two or more computers that are linked together to share some kind of resources, such as I think the printers, the CDs, the USB that allow kind of exchanging files. I think that's a network.
I think this is the second definition, second meaning of the word network. The one I told you is about computer stuff and IT related, but what we are talking about today is the network. That means people around you, your connections you have, the people who you exchange stuff to get stuff with each other. Okay, let's imagine we're clear about what is a network. Who do you think should be included in your network? Also, do you think your next door neighbor is in your network, is part of your network? If yes, why? If no, why? So the question is whether your next door neighbor...
I guess if you have any...
Go ahead, Mira.
Yeah, if you have interactions with him, like I mean interactions in your work.
I think we can't hear you. Yes, basically the answer is if you have meaningful interactions with your next door neighbor, that is both beneficial for you and your neighbor, that means your neighbor is in your network. And Rajan, we can't hear you. You have some probably internet connection problems. Okay, so here we have some definition about what networking is. We're now clear about what network is. But what networking is professional networking is when a person deliberately builds meaningful relation. I'm sorry. I have these Zoom icons disturbing me. Yes, builds meaningful relationships with other professionals in their industry, field, or other relevant fields. The second definition is to network professionally, you should ensure the relationship is mutually beneficial for both parties in some way. It should allow both parties to build, reinforce, and maintain trustworthy relationships with others to further each person's goals. Networking can include everything from an informal chat at a neighbor's barbecue to attending a specialized industry networking event. So yeah, there are very common and popular ways to build your network, but there are also very unusual ways of networking. For example, you can approach someone in the street and ask whether they want to join your idea, they want to join your initiative, and maybe this person shares your interest and maybe they really want to join your initiative, and this becomes a really good case of networking. So don't limit yourself while networking, be as creative as possible. In any case, the goal is to open the lines of communication and start building relationships that are relevant to your work and career. Common examples of professional networking include joining industry associations or club. Anyone here who sees themselves or is presently in HR field? Especially from Armenia. Okay, great. We don't have HRs here. So what I wanted to say is that there are, if you do your research, there are many associations in your field. We have HR association, we have engineers association, IT association, lawyers association. So when you do your research and find a relevant association for you, I really recommend you to join this association. Also, there are clubs in a field relevant for you. There are also some very generic clubs that you can join to just to enlarge your network. Debate clubs or chess clubs or anything you're passionate about. Getting involved in networking events, expos, conferences, or career fairs. Yes, especially lately, many open events, expos, conferences are being occurred. So I really recommend you to attend these events, connecting with and reaching out to relevant professionals on LinkedIn. Yes, so before connecting, reaching out and connecting professionals, I highly recommend you to have LinkedIn profiles and to keep them active and post on it to keep it active before reaching out to relevant professionals. And I also want to give a little tip to you that LinkedIn is not like Facebook, so you don't really need to know the person to connect to them. You can just connect the people who are in your industry, who you find interesting, who you want to make your future colleagues, and so on. Meeting recruiters. This might work differently in Armenia and in different countries because in-person meeting with recruiters is not really the recruiting style in Armenia. But you can, I don't know if it is in your countries, but it's not in Armenia, but you can at least add recruiters on your LinkedIn and try to have a little chat with them. Okay, we'll come back to this part. Keeping in touch with former colleagues. No matter how bad your previous work experience was, I highly recommend you to keeping in touch with former colleagues because they might one day turn into your future colleagues, and why not? They might guess what your accomplishments are now. Getting to know current colleagues, this is pretty clear. Volunteering and participating in community events, again clear. Attending industry meetups, this is almost the same as networking events and expos. Joining virtual groups and communities, yes. Make sure your virtual presence as well. And as I said, all these industry association and clubs will probably have their virtual presence in social media. So it's very, you're very welcome to join these associations. Okay, so additional tips, because we talked about virtual presence, I would like to give some additional tips about building your network from scratch. So start online. Probably most of you, or maybe all of you, have their at least one social network. So it's actually a good way to make sure your all connections are in one place, and you have a list of them so you can reach out to them whenever you need them. And the second part, creating an online presence, is not only about making sure you have an account, is about making sure you're active on this account. So this also means to having maybe some blog accounts or websites or Pinterest accounts, which are very good while sharing your interests with other people, so that your interest can be shown and can be open to other people so that they can join. Leverage your network. Yes, your uncle's friend's cousin may be the recruiter you will need in future. So don't underestimate this part of using your network, especially if you include your family members, friends, former colleagues, and even schoolmates. Identify your passions, and this is not only about showcasing them, showcasing your passions. This is also about taking time for yourself and really reflecting about your passions. This will be helpful both in showing your presence as a specific kind of passion holder, but also about being sure what kind of making a bit sure about what kind of business ideas you might develop, and to be sure of what kind of problems you are enthusiastic about, to make a plan about solving these problems. Help them out first, add value and clarity. There is a saying that the best time to build a network is when you need it least. So yes, when you just create your network and don't just bulk connect to recruiters when you're in a need of job. I highly recommend you to start creating your network when you least need it, when you don't, when you least need it. So you can just start it creating today. When you're trying to reach out to someone to build your network, do your research and understand what the other person is all about. If you can add value, tell them how. Attend networking events. This is basically the same. Networking events, whether virtual or in person, are some of the richest sources of new and relevant personal and professional connections. And authentically follow up with people you meet. This doesn't mean that you should go home and text them right away. This means for you to maybe check their profiles to see what kind of interests they have, where do they work, so that you can provide them with the help and to provide them with some opportunity for you to add value. Yes. So for this part, I would like you to share what kind of networking style or methods do you use? And for the second part, what are the most meaningful connections you have made? What were the sources? You can take your time to reflect a bit, 2-3 minutes, and then you can share. What kind of networking style or methods do you use? Do you prefer adding people online, or do you prefer approaching people in the streets, or do you prefer going to networking events, or do you prefer just keeping in touch with the people around you? What are the most meaningful connections you have made? 1 or 2 examples of the most meaningful connections you have made.
Eleonora Jan, I'm sorry for interrupting. I would like to suggest just we can have some 5 minutes break maybe, and also they can use the time for reflecting the task and then come back if you don't mind, like, because it's very long, and
yes,
the participants also will have chance to have rest a bit.
Okay, we didn't notice how time passed. Great. So we'll come after 5 minutes.
Yeah, we can do that. And also, I would like to suggest not to leave the Zoom. Just you can just keep it this way and join in 5 minutes. So what time is it? Let's join at 9. Yeah, I mean at 9 in 5 minutes. Let's say in 5 minutes, because we are in different countries. So let's join in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, I was muted. Is everyone back? Yes. So this was actually our last. Slide of the presentation. But before we proceed to sharing your examples, I would like to share one example so that it can maybe make clear now to what kind of examples you can share. So one of my friends who was applying for a job in a very good international organization, he was in this recruitment processes, and he was given a practical assignment to do. And he basically did not understood well what is expected of him to do. So he kind of messed up this assignment. But because he had beforehand he had made all this networking, all these connections with these people from this organization, and a lot of people from this organization already knew him as a person who can do the work, because he had some short term assignments with them or anything. Yeah, they give him a chance to try again to do this assignment once again. So the result is that he is now working in that organization, so he messed up the recruitment process. And this is probably a good example how networking can be useful even in recruitment processes. And if you have this kind of examples and experience from your life, you're very welcome to sharing. Because networking is very personal and it is all about go talk to people. There are many unusual and untalked ways of doing it. So I would really like to know what kind of networking styles or methods you are using, and what works for you. What are the most meaningful connections you have made? And what were the sources? Maybe you connected someone on LinkedIn and then this person became your recruiter to your dream organization, or maybe you met someone in an event and now this person is your close friend. Okay, so now we can start sharing. Anyone wants to volunteer about sharing their networking style?
I maybe have one small example, but it might not be, I don't know, the biggest effort from my side, but just a nice connection. So in my school, I was in the student governments and worked there. And actually, one person that I worked with together, who was a very competent person, he was the son of the state minister of the state that I live in Germany. So, you know, through these kind of corners, you kind of meet interesting people. And I guess that's kind of an example of how that could work. And I think because we had the question beforehand, I think I'm more of a fan of in-person networking than virtual. But yeah, it's kind of maybe one thing that came to my mind.
Yes, good example. Thank you. Anyone who wants to share an experience where people created a path for them?
Hello, Piranto here. I'd worked with another organization before I started the business, and there was a gentleman we worked closely with. So after establishing the business, I reached out to them, telling them about my business, and because we had this good relationship, it really was very useful to connect me to an organization that offered a training for our team. Yeah, so I guess it's just about, first of all, looking around who is nearer you before now you expand. But of course, mapping out whoever you've maybe interacted with in an event, and also colleagues in your work. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So basically, this is about leveraging your network. Nice example. Anyone from Armenian side who wants to share how networking works in Armenian environment?
Hello. Okay, so for instance, for me, I'm someone who is very, very active on social media. So I normally check if we have mutual friends. If you have I have mutual friends from about 30 to 50 to 100 people with you, especially on Facebook. Then it means what I take it is that you are doing something unique. That is why I have mutual friends with you, because I'm someone who likes to volunteer a lot. To on my network, I make sure I have um, a diverse connection. So I have journalists, I have politicians, I have sportsmen, and all that. So once I see that we have a lot of mutual friends in common, and then I see the profile as a good profile to send a friend request to post. I'll go through the profile and see what you are also into. So let's say in the climate change space, I chance on a profile that has about 20 mutual friends.
We
And I go
can't
to the profile.
clearly hear you. I'm sorry, we can't clearly hear you. Could you maybe speak a bit louder?
I'm coming. Hello, can you hear me now?
Better, way better.
Yes. So what I'm saying is I'm someone who is very, very active on social media. So if I want to create a connection, first of all, if I'm to view someone's profile, I check the number of mutual friends that we have in common, because I try to have a diverse pool of connections. So people who are into sports, journalists, politics, music, and all that. So once I transfer the profile and I see that there are mutual connections of about 20, 50 people, then I can tell that this is a very good person to send a friend request to. And before that, I go through your profile. For instance, if I go to the profile and I see that maybe you are into climate change, and I see a couple of people who are into climate change and we're a mutual friend with them, it tells me that you are doing something good. I'll go through your post as well and see what you do. Because some people, you can see that they are attending conferences on their own, they are running initiatives that are geared towards a particular field, let's say climate change, that you have interest in. So such profiles are good profiles that you are supposed to connect with, because I know definitely I can learn a lot from them, maybe, and I have a lot to also share with them. So
thank you very much.
when I connect with you, maybe I can come to your inbox and introduce myself. Sometimes too, I might be there and I chance on opportunities that are into climate change, maybe a link to attend a conference, a training or something. I just pick it and send it to those people without them even asking for it, you see. So doing something like this helps to establish a connection. So that is what I sometimes do.
Thank you very much. Yes, recently my latest boss told me that while hiring me, the first thing they did is going into my social media account and checking what kind of mutual connections we had, and then starting to ask these connections what they think about me. So yeah, this is a good example how your network and how your connection with your network members might affect your career. Also, one thing about volunteering I heard is, yes, attending to volunteering events is one of the most effortless methods to enlarging your network, because people there don't anticipate anything and they are effortless and they just interact with each other. And there are a lot more people than there is to networking events. So doing voluntary stuff and attending voluntary events is one of the good working methods of enlarging your network. Anyone else wants to share how their networking works?
I would. So basically, one of the ways that, well, not one of the ways, the way I'm kind of in this meeting right now is because I'm a part of APY. So I did my first volunteering work 2 years ago, and I just told everyone that I'm trying to do as much volunteering as possible. So I would like to know more about the organizations that are currently helping. So a lot of people told me about APY, and at first I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know about Erasmus Plus. I didn't know about non-formal education and how much it can help you develop. So thankfully, right a week after I found out about APY, they had a membership call. And after I became a member, I made many friends from not only Armenia, but also from many other countries. And now if I ever want to travel, for example, to Germany, France, or somewhere else, just because of the Erasmus project that I did, because of APY and the non-formal educational classes, it's been very helpful for me to develop as a person and also develop my social skills.
Great example, actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, did anyone advance in their career because they did good networking beforehand? or just anyone who wants to share another story?
Can I come in again?
Sure.
So like I was stating earlier, in the process of networking. So let's say if you are having a mutual connection on social media, and I follow what you do. Anytime I see any opportunity that is within your field, I send it to you, like I said. So early this way, I was there. I chanced on one. I think the one young world program, the one that was in Manchester, just about 3 months ago. I chanced on it. I know one guy. I just knew him through social media, Facebook. So he is into health, and he has an NGO. And I saw the link. I've observed him for some time now, and I know what he was into. So when I saw the link, I sent it to him. He applied. I think in about a month's time, I was there, and then he sent me a message that he applied for it, and then he had been selected. It was fully funded. So he attended a One Young World program in Manchester. Just around the same time too. That was when the Queen Elizabeth died. So through what I did, that is sending him the link to apply, he was able to make use of the opportunity that he had. I think today he's one of the One Young World ambassadors, and then he has gotten the opportunity to be at the UK. He took an iconic picture. He took a picture, and with the picture of the Queen, see these tall buildings, they erect big screens, and then the picture of the Queen was there behind him. So this is just for future reference that indeed, when he was in the UK, that was the period. And to me, I felt very happy because in a way, I've been able to make someone aware of an opportunity. Though I didn't even benefit, he is the one who has benefited. And definitely through this, it helps you to build your connection and then make your friendship stronger. Even though I've not met him before, if we were to interact just on social media, I've not met him face to face. I've met him before then. Maybe I was interacting with him once in a while, but I met him just once. I've not met him again, but the connection is still there because of something that has occurred. So you could look at doing similar things like this, and it will help you to build your connection. Even if not now, definitely in the future, you stand a chance to benefit from such things.
Yes, this is very good point, and I would like to come back to it again. Your network and your networking is not only benefiting from your network, but this will work way better if you also show how you can benefit your network, how you can be useful to your network. So if you see any opportunity or you see any areas of help that you can be of help to these people, just reach out to them and show them this, so that your connection and your interaction is being more authentic, not just only let's benefit from our interaction. This was a very good point. Thank you. Okay, so what's left to say is that if there is no one to talk. Okay, so if there's nothing to add, the last slide is about thanking you for being here, for joining this meeting. Hope this was useful, and hope this training was productive. And yeah, in case you want to add me to your professional network as a networking method, you have my LinkedIn. Probably we will share this presentation with you later, so you have the link if you need it. Thank you very much for being here.